What is going on? Happy New Year. I hope that you had an amazing holiday season with your loved ones and you're feeling rested, recharged, and excited as we kick off 2022 here. It's good to be back after a little holiday hiatus. And before we dig into today's episode, I just wanted to let you know that Instagram disabled my @N1Fitness account at the end of November, and fortunately it is back up and running. So be sure to follow me @N1Fitness as well as Marcus Sadu, because who knows what will happen moving forward. Instagram still hasn't told me why they disabled my account. Also, I'm going to be more active on TikTok @TheN1Fitness and especially on YouTube @Marcus Sadu, because this experience has been pretty revealing about how Facebook, Instagram, Meta, whatever they're called now, run their business. And truth be told, I've been looking for a reason to dig more into YouTube anyway. I've got 2 day in the life travel vlogs up on YouTube now. I just put one out yesterday. I'm going to be posting a video outlining my current workout routine. Full days of eating are going to happen. I'm honestly super pumped about YouTube and I'm really having a blast with it. So if more behind the scenes video content is something that you're interested in, check out my YouTube @Marcus Sadu, and I'll also have the link in the description below. All right, now let's get to the good stuff. Today, we are going to be chatting about weight loss, the menstrual cycle, and fertility, because this topic comes up from time to time with my female one-on-one nutritional coaching clients, and so I figured it would be useful information to share here on the pod as well. I want to get a very common misconception out of the way right off the bat, and that is that hormones are the be-all, end-all. And don't get me wrong, hormones matter, okay? They're very important. However, what I often notice is that folks tend to think my hormones are out of balance, which may be true. However, the reason why the endocrine system becomes dysregulated, the endocrine system is just a fancy term for the hormonal system, by the way, is due to lifestyle inputs, i.e. nutrition, movement, sleep, and stress management. Now, this is great news because folks often feel completely disempowered when it comes to their hormones, because there seems to be this belief that there's a disconnect between behavior and your hormonal health. However, your lifestyle, nutrition, movement, sleep, and stress management, tell your endocrine system what to do. So your hormonal health is simply a byproduct or a reflection of your behavior. And that is great news because you have 100% control over your behavior. And therefore, you get to control your hormones as well. It is not the other way around. Hormones do not dictate lifestyle. Lifestyle dictates hormones. So you don't need fancy bioidentical hormones or overpriced, ineffective, quote unquote, natural supplements, both of which don't work in and of themselves, by the way. What you need to do is to square away your lifestyle via your behavior. So I just wanted to share that good news with you right up front. Now, we have 4 main situations in regards to losing the menstrual cycle, or a dysregulated cycle, essentially. So we're going to run through all 4, and I'm going to tell you exactly how you can recover normal cycle function in each scenario. The first one is the simplest, and that is letting your body fat get too high. All sorts of health issues begin to pop up when we're carrying too much body fat. And in order to recover normal cycle function in this scenario, the route is via losing body fat. So getting your body composition into a healthful range via better nutrition, movement, and sleep habits. Super straightforward stuff. Easier said than done, of course, but straightforward nonetheless. Scenario number 2 is letting your body fat get too low. So an extreme example that we see is a loss of the menstrual cycle in women who are experiencing anorexia, because the body simply senses that it doesn't have enough nutrition to support itself, let alone a baby. And the fix here is straightforward too. More calories need to be consumed in order to get body fat into a higher range. We also actually see this in female competitive athletes, female competitive bodybuilders, or just regular lay population women when they get too lean. Now, it's worth mentioning that every woman has a certain level of body fat where if they dip below it, they will lose their cycle. And that body fat percentage is different for every woman. So for example, one woman might lose her cycle at 16% body fat and another might not lose her cycle until she reaches, say, 13%. This is highly individual. So in regards to the menstrual cycle and fertility, we don't want body fat too high and we also don't want it too low. Now the third scenario is dropping calories by too much too quickly. So for example, let's say that we've got a female at 170 pounds and 30% body fat, and she still has a regular cycle, so her body fat isn't into the range where it's too high and it's also not too low. Now maybe her goal is fat loss and she doesn't know about N1, and so she goes on a crash diet and reduces her calories by a ton, essentially overnight. She may lose her cycle not because her body fat is too high and not because her body fat is too low, but because her calorie intake dipped so fast and so much that her body is like, what is going on here? We need to ramp down reproductive capabilities because apparently we don't have enough food available, and so it doesn't make sense to bring a baby into the world right now. So that is scenario number 3, a sudden and drastic dip in calorie intake. And as a side note, this is not represented by not eating for a day or two or something super short term like that. This is dropping calories quite suddenly and quite significantly for multiple weeks, but more so likely a month plus, if not more. That's the time frame that we're talking about here. Now, it could actually be as well that this individual doesn't necessarily lose her cycle because of the quote unquote crash diet, but rather she just hit her bottom end body fat percentage really quickly due to the drastic reduction in calories. So you can see that these aspects can be somewhat intertwined. Also, if someone was to quote unquote crash diet or just dedicate a period of time to really concentrated and fast fat loss because that was her priority, once she brought her calories back up to maintenance levels at her new goal body weight / body composition, as long as that level of body fat is not below her total body fat cutoff point where she loses her cycle no matter what, she should recover her cycle rather quickly. Situation number 4 is a very stressful event. So in this case, a woman could be well within her healthy body fat percentage to maintain her regular cycle. However, maybe she experienced the loss of a family member, heaven forbid, or suddenly got fired from her job. This super stressful and traumatic event could dysregulate her cycle. Now, you might be thinking, well, Marcus, you said that lifestyle dictates hormonal status. And that's still true because what we can't separate here is how her behavior changes during this traumatic time. For example, nutrition intake tends to change a lot. Some folks will start to eat a lot more. Some will start to eat a lot less. And it's very rare that during a highly stressful event that eating behavior doesn't change at all, right? Also, alcohol and drug intake often increases, which is a huge stressor. So we often can't separate that out either. Sleep tends to take a massive hit, meaning it's hard to sleep because someone is in a lot of emotional pain, and or individuals on the other end of the spectrum may sleep all day because maybe they're experiencing a bit of a depression, right? So the stressful event changes behavior, aka lifestyle, which then can alter the cycle. Now, if someone hypothetically was to keep their nutrition, movement, and sleep dialed in to a 10 out of 10 going through a super stressful event, could they keep their regular cycle? Maybe, but that's purely theoretical, right? Because I've never met that person. We are emotional animals, and so it's just impossible to separate this stuff out from one another on an individual basis. because it's all inextricably linked. So the way that we can think about and approach this whole weight loss, menstrual cycle, and fertility dealio is the number one priority of evolution is to not die. And the number two priority is to turn calories into babies. And so in all of these scenarios, priority number one is to keep you alive, and priority number two is to have you reproduce. So if anything is a threat to reproductive success, the cycle tends to become dysregulated because biology is brilliant, right? But the overarching theme or key takeaway here is lifestyle, lifestyle, lifestyle. Nutrition, movement, and sleep. These are the key inputs for a thriving and healthy body, no matter whether you're female or male, by the way. And again, fortunately, you get to decide what you eat, how much you move, and your sleep status. Aside from parents with young children, just do the best you can. I get it. That is a rough setup, and it is what it is. If you're interested in applying for one-on-one nutritional coaching and or workout design with me, you can click the link in the description below or head on over to n1fitness.com/coaching. Thank you so much to the folks that have taken 3 seconds to leave us a 5-star review on their favorite podcast platform. I genuinely appreciate it. And lastly, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you found this episode useful. I hope that this is an educational and empowering message, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.